Good afternoon and welcome to the memorial services for Hannah Alcoser. My name is Sam Bass. I'll be conducting today. To begin the memorial services, we'll be pleased to hear a special musical selection, Amazing Grace by Allison Cruz. After which Ken Loyo will give the invocation.
Father in heaven, we thank thee for this day. We thank you, Heavenly Father, for allowing us to gather as family, friends, and loved ones. We ask thee humbly, Heavenly Father, to please be with us this day as we honor the life of Anna, Mama Alcoser. We pray, Heavenly Father, that our hearts may be soft and that we may be able to remember the good things, the good times. Pray that you will bless those who speak. Pray that thou would bless us all to strive to be kind and loving to one another. We ask the Heavenly Father to please guide us in knowing what to do and to say, and to have thee in our minds and hearts always. We humbly pray and ask for these blessings and do so in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Allison, for that stirring song, and Ken for your beautiful prayer. We'll now hear a life sketch read by Mac McKell, after which we'll hear another special musical selection, Remember Me by Garen Hess and Kimberly Hess, accompanied by Blanca Frazier.
It's my privilege, brothers and sisters, to spend just a few minutes with you today. As I read through the eulogy that I was given, I was reminded of a poem that was read at my mom's funeral. And with your permission, Anna. Remember long ago how she told you and seemed to know all your needs and your small desires and your sorrows. And she taught you that you might know of tomorrow. Do you know how she knew when to help you and when to let you help her? Now, as you think of the hours that she gave you, hours full of patient and vigilant love for you, can you ever prove worthy of all her love, her care? Can you show your love? Can your caring compare? Is there yet a way to repay and return her love? Remember, as you live, unto others her love give. As she loved you, as she served you, give to all her love. It is said a mother's love is always with her children. Losing a mother is one of the deepest sorrows a heart can know. But her goodness, her caring, and her wisdom live on, like a legacy of love that will always be with you. Well, I pray that that love surrounds us all and brings us peace in our hearts. Anna Tenberge Alcoser was known to many as Mama, Mammy, Grandma, Annie, Anita, and countless other terms of endearment. But no matter what you call her, she was a beacon of pure, indiscriminatory, unselfish love. She was born to Theodore Tenberge and Anna Warchie on January the 4th, 1952 in Hoboken, New Jersey, and grew up with her brother John and sister Maria. She graduated from high school in 1969 and for a time studied nursing. She acted in a number of plays at the Stanley Theater. She loved theater growing up, and whether it was on stage or in the audience. She participated in community theater, performing in Veronica's Vale with her 2 younger children. Anna was a big fan of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and especially enjoyed attending those shows with her son, shows her son George starred in. She always had a thirst for knowledge, trivia, puzzle, and later in life games. She enjoyed watching Jeopardy, working on crossword puzzles, being a master at Candy Crush, and in destroying structures with Angry Birds with such precision. Her love of all kinds of music led her to create a demo in her young adult life. She was always singing. It didn't matter if it was in her kitchen or in front of an audience at karaoke. Anna was the type of person that can surprise anyone. She was one of a kind. Although she had many interests in her life, none can compare to the love she had for her children and grandchildren. Anna has 4 children, Ted, Matt, Anna, and George, along with 12 wonderful grandchildren. She was a loving, caring mother who would take the time to listen and understand, yet at the same time, be, even if it meant she had to wave the back scratcher to get her point across. Yes, Mama was a master at the tough love game. Anna had a gift that she shared with this world, one that would make people just gravitate towards her. It was indescribable. An example of this is a recent post from her Facebook page. It was of a young person whom she met on a flight to New Jersey. Jessie was young, lost, and scared about moving to a new place. In the flight of a few hours, she talked about her family and provided motherly guidance to the do's and don'ts of Jersey. That's all it took to make an impact on this person's young life. There are countless other stories like these. Her persona, an unbiased way to show compassion, love, and understanding is what made her a mother figure to so many others. She was truthful and wasn't afraid to tell you what she thought. She treated you like you were one of her own children. That is what made her so special. Today we say our final see you later, not goodbye. We are reminded of her courage and how she prepared us all for this moment. This is not a somber moment, but a moment of celebration. A celebration that we were gifted in knowing such a beautiful, brave, compassionate, loving, and unselfish soul. That's how she would have wanted us to remember and celebrate her life. I'd like to end this with a quote. Mothers never really die. They just keep the house up in the sky. They polish the sun by day and light the stars that shine at night. Keep those moonbeams silvery bright, and in the heavenly home above, they wait to welcome those they love. Well, Mama, there's nothing anyone here would want more than to see your beautiful smile and get one of your big, snuggly hugs when we arrive with you. We love you and miss you. See you later, alligator.
Remember me each time you hear a sad guitar. Know that I'm with you the only way that I can be, until you're in my arms again. Remember me. Recuérdame. Recuérdame, cantaré soñando en regresar.
Recuérdame, aunque tenga que emigrar, recuérdame. Si mi guitarra es llorar,
Ella con su triste canto te acompañará hasta que en mis brazos estés. Recuérdame, recuérdame, aunque tengo que ir, mi amor, recuérdame. No llores, por favor, te llevo en mi corazón y cerca me tendrás.
a solas yo te cantaré, soñando en regresar. Recuérdame.
Recuérdame,
Though I have to travel far, recuérdame. Each time you hear a sad guitar,
know that I'm with you the only way that I can be, until you're in my arms again.
Thank you for that song and the life sketch. We'll now turn the time over to any of you who would like to share a memory or a thought of Anna, and those of you who are joining us via Zoom can comment in the tribute wall. Thanks, Anna. And we'll read those.
She was a good grandma. I would always love her no matter what. We love you, Grandma, and we will always remember you.
Hi. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Tess. I'm George's partner, life partner, little friend. I met Mama a couple years ago. And she really was my second mom. She never made me feel unwanted in her home. She never made me feel like I wasn't part of the family. On days where there was a party going on at the house and I would get overwhelmed or overstimulated, I would just go into the living room and sit with Mama, and she and I would chat and laugh and watch whatever was going on TV, even if it was some Spanish courtroom show that I couldn't understand. She was never afraid to show you her love and her time. And I was so lucky to hear all about her life and just hear about what an amazing person she was. And George and I had the honor of taking her to her very last Rocky Horror Picture Show last year. We didn't know it would be her last, but we did everything we could to make sure it happened, and we did. And we were able to take her. It was amazing. And we'll miss you every day.
I don't know if you guys know me, all of you, safe and such, but I'm Teddy Cruz Jr., Ted Sr.'s son. And I didn't have anything that I wanted to say in particular today up until, putting a lot of extra thought and extra. But I think that if there's one thing that my grandma had passed on to me incredibly well, is the ability to sweep. I did not know how to sweep until she taught me how to sweep. Okay, this is something that is true. I was at her house one day. She was like, "Sweep it up." I was like, "I don't know how." But I think how that helps me think of how I'm gonna remember her and how I'm gonna keep her within my heart is I'm gonna sweep. She always found a way to, get whatever bad, negative part about the situation was happening, and she just get it out of there, shoot. And another thing that I thought about was my sister gave me this rose today. On our way here, one of the petals of this rose was incredibly wilted, but it was a perfectly good rose. It's beautiful. But part of that rose was wilted. I had to pick it off, and I guess what I'm trying to say is this rose doesn't look as good as that by now, but it's still pretty. And I don't know, it was a wilted petal. She had such a full life. She helped all of it, but it's still pretty. And it's still here. That's the most important part. Thank you.
Speaking in front of people. Here I am because I just had a few things I wanted to say. I'm Ted's ex-wife. All these kids' mom. And even though Ted and I got a divorce, it didn't matter because I showed up at Mama's house and it didn't matter. Hey, babe. Always a hug. No matter what. Always a hug. She didn't care. She didn't treat you different, your family. Like, she loved her family so much. She loved all of you guys so much. I felt it all the time, every time I stepped foot in that house. she'll continue to love you from where she is. I know. And I just wanted to just say, this life is short. This life is not permanent. We know this. There's birth, there's death. But it's what you do in between that matters. And she did a lot. She did a lot. She lost. Never did one of my kids go without a birthday present. Never Christmas present. The first time I ever met Mom, I was dating Ted, and I had a baby. That guy was there. And I was protective of my baby. And unfortunately, I was in a situation where the father didn't want to be involved, and neither did his parents. But I walked in with my baby. The first thing she said, "Hi, give me that kid." And that's how she became a grandma. She was the best grandma. Even though she yelled at you to get out of the kitchen, she was the best grandma. And I just want to share that. Like, I love Mama. She's still here. She's still around. Don't worry. I love you all.
So I got the privilege of being her favorite son-in-law. Very similar to you, Mimi. She welcomed Eli. I too came into the family with a kid. And from the very first moment, you could feel the love that she had. She loved children. She loved her grandchildren. There wasn't a day that the kids would come home from school, and the first thing they would do would run to her and give her a hug, and then ask her for a snack. She always had snacks ready for the kids. And if she didn't have snacks, she had them on a food order. Anna and I were dating for about a month. And she tells me, "My mom wants to talk to you." She was a single mom, that she played both parts, mom and dad. So when I went in to talk to Mama, Anna went with Eli into the back room and played with him, and I don't know what they did. But Mama had me sit next to her on a chair, on an interview chair. And she got her notebook, put her glasses on, and she interviewed me and said, first question was, what are your intentions with my daughter? And I told her I didn't know. I remember telling her that I liked her daughter and that we were just going to take it day by day. Here we are 16 years later. We've got our 4 children who love her, and I know she still looks down at them and watches over them. When I first met Mama, I had only been clean and sober for about 1.5 years, but she didn't care. She said that didn't matter. As long as I continued to learn, to grow, and to change, that's all that mattered. It wasn't too far in between that she would tell me that she was proud of me, that she loved me, that I was a good husband and father. She wanted me to know that, and she wanted me to continue to love my family. one thing I learned very quickly about Mama is that she didn't care how you felt if she told you something. If she wanted you to know something, she would tell you. And if it hurt your feelings, oh well. I guess that's where we both got along really well and where we clashed as well. Because I'm very much similar to that. I'm thankful for the time that I was able to talk to her and to just get to know her, the stories, and I liked it when she would tattle tell the kids. She would send a text to me or Anna, and she would even say, I'm being a tattletale, but, and then she would tell us. And the kids would look at us like, how did you know? Now you guys know. And she warned me about Ted and George. In that interview, she told me a little bit about her brothers and told me, I love this family. Very kind-hearted. They're very forgiving. And I'm honored to be her favorite son-in-law.
Oh boy. Hi, I'm George. I'm the baby of the family. I got to witness firsthand how strong my mother was, not only physically but mentally. As a single mom who was working all the time, sometimes 2 jobs, I had the privilege of having my sister right there help raise me. I want to share a memory, probably my first memory of my life ever. I was 2 years old, and I know first thought is, how could he remember something that happened when he was 2 years old? It's because it was just that traumatizing. It was the 80s, late 80s, and my mom, for some weird reason, strapped me into the front seat. Who does that? Literally nobody. And when, later on in life, when I heard about it, and I asked her why. She just said that something just told her to put me in the front seat. She doesn't know why she did it, but she did it. And it ultimately saved my life. Because in that same car ride, the station wagon was totaled, and the back seat was completely demolished. Not a lot of people know that story, but, I just grew up my whole life knowing that, and boy, was I grateful. This woman, she raised me. She was poor. We were just so poor growing up, and she made us feel so rich. Not with material possessions, because nobody really cared about that. We had each other and we had her. And admittedly, I'm lost. I don't know what to do with the rest of my life, but I'm so overwhelmed with the great support we've had growing up. Or not growing up, but since this has happened, I mean. We did have a lot of support growing up. My mother was very kind. She was very accepting. I'd say almost 20 years ago, Tricia and I met. I figured you're not coming up here, right? So I'll go ahead and tell you about Tricia. Tricia's mom, for anybody who doesn't know. We have had 2 very beautiful kids, and we still remain very close friends to today. And there wasn't ever a moment during any of that process where she wasn't Tricia's mom as well. She's lived with our mom, and our mom, practically raised our kids. That tall, chiseled man-looking kid right next to her right now. She raised him from birth, practically. Same with Isabel here. And I will forever be grateful for everything she's done. Admittedly, I'm super heartbroken and a lot more composed up here than I thought I would be. But I just want to come up and say my piece. She, like mentioned earlier, she was a huge fan of the Rocky Horror Picture Show and a huge ally in the LGBTQ community. She raised us to be very accepting. And then later on, when I had taken Isabel, or gotten Isabel some stuff from the Pride Festival, I found out that Mom was at one of the first Pride festivals ever, which actually really matched up time-wise. She graduated in '69, and when she got her freedom, she would cross the Hudson River to go to Greenwich Park a lot, which is where one of the first Pride festivals was ever held back in 1970. And finding that out brought such a big smile to my face because I had just come home, me and Tess had just come home from Pride, and I bought Isabel some rainbow glasses that she was really happy about, and that's when we found out from Grandma. And I'm like, holy crap, Mom, you just became so much cooler than I ever realized. I knew she was cool, but dang. But yeah, the gist of everything is just thank you for everything, Mom. Thank you for making Trisha feel like part of the family. More than just making her feel like part of the family. She is very much a close member in our family. And thank you so much for everything that you've done for Tess. And my kids, and my siblings, and just everybody who ever knew you. I love you, Mom. And thank you for everything. You want to say anything about gender? You don't have to. Okay, go. I'm here. You're good.
She was very kind to me and my brother. She always helped me. And I needed her. My grandma was loving and kind and strong. I heard that. I was hearing my parents talking about how strong she was, and she would treat everyone like family, and she would be so loving and kind and helping. So, yeah. First of all, my favorite sentence from her is "get out of there" or "get out of the kitchen." And the reason why I loved it is because, sorry. The reason why I loved it is because she would say a lot. And it was one of the few sentences that I actually looked forward. She was this beautiful, amazing woman. And may she rest in peace.
Really quick, I want to say, Dad, more like only More like only son-in-law. I was giving him the hard eyes. I would like to say, Grandma, thank you so much for what you've done. She made me become an oldies person. We would always watch Golden Girls together. We would always watch old shows, watch old movies. Grandma, I'm gonna tell you one thing really quick. Thank you for being a friend.
So I'm Eli. I'm Mama Anna's oldest grandchild, and technically not even by blood. I mean, a lot of people don't even know that because she never treated me any differently. I just had one thing I wanted to say. I moved out of the house when I was 16, and I didn't move back until maybe 3 weeks before my 20th birthday. And that was about almost a year and a half ago. And that was probably one of the hardest times of my life. And again, I just want to clarify, I hadn't been with Grandma, barely saw her for like 4 years, occasionally saw her. And I think, even though that was one of the hardest situations, it was a blessing, if that's what you want to call it, or a miracle, whatever the hell, or sorry, whatever. Because if it wasn't for that, I would have never been able to interact with my grandmother at a much more intellectual, deep, and loving manner that I never had experienced before. And it pains me to see my brothers, my mom, and everybody. But like I said, I'm just glad I had the honor to at least spend the last year of her life with her, living in that home, walking in the front door after work, complaining about whatever the hell I wanted to complain about that day to Grandma. And somehow Grandma calmed me down pretty well a lot of times, and that's all I really wanted to say. So, let me lie.
Good afternoon all. My name is Alcoser. I have the privilege of knowing Mama, Annie as I would call her, since I was 7 years old. One of the stories that she always told us, my siblings and myself, was when she would come to my mom's house and help my mom sew whatever it was that she was doing, and she will see that my mom would give a piece of chocolate to one of my siblings and not to me or my other siblings. But of course, that sibling was the youngest one, understandable. But Annie always said that she thought it was not fair, and how she had came the following day and bought chocolates for myself and my other siblings, and not the little one that always got the chocolates. So I one time I asked about, were you also being unfair? And she said no, because fair is making sure you eat also, just like your other brother ate that the day before. That little story with the chocolate, it always stuck to me, because she was very humble. She was very like Teddy, Anna, and George knows. She was always given, whether she had or not. She would always look from anywhere, search wherever she had to, will always give her time, always give her love. She was very honest, very pure. I had the privilege to know her and consider her as my mother also. Up until a couple of days before I got the phone call from her, I called her honestly, because I always called her silly little advices, whether it be recipes or am I doing this right? What do you think? She always had the answer for me, always treated me as her daughter. She was a wonderful soul, will always be a wonderful soul in our hearts and our minds. She has left a lot of good memories. I grew these 3 siblings here. I pretty much raised them. Now they're much taller and bigger than me. I can still handle them. I just wanted to share that the wonderful person that she was. We were so privileged. I was so privileged to know her. My family, we are honored. I'm honored to have entered to that family. Thank you. On behalf of the Alcoser family in Ecuador, I will be reading something that they wanted me to share with you, Ted, George, Annie, and I will be reading in Spanish. And I'm sorry if I don't pronounce it correctly. By the way, this is my mini-me. A nombre de la familia Alcoser Saltos, permítanos compartir con ustedes nuestros sentimientos hacia Anita, como solidarias decirle, mujer excepcional, madre abnegada, cualidades que permitieron ganarse nuestro cariño y respeto. Pues hoy solo nos quedan esos hermosos momentos vividos en familia con Anita. Pero queda su legado en sus hijos, nuestros sobrinos, Ted, Anita Luz y George, quienes siempre tendrán en alto el nombre de su madre, siendo como ella siempre fue, cariñosa, respetuosa, solidaria, generosa y sobre todo buen ser humano. Sobrinos queridos, entendemos lo difícil que es perder un ser querido. Físicamente no estamos con ustedes, pero nuestros corazones sí lo están en estos momentos de dolor. Reciban abrazos solidarios de toda la familia de Ecuador. Recuerden que los queremos mucho. Les deseamos paz, consuelo y resignación. Les enviamos todo nuestro cariño. Hasta siempre, Anita querida. Siempre la recordaremos. sus tíos y sus tías del Ecuador. Thank you.
Hi guys. I'm Ted, the oldest child of Anna, a wonderful, beautiful mom. Everybody's come up here and talked about how loving and kind she is, and I agree with all of that. I want to give you a brief story on how hard I was on my mom and how loving she was, not just to me and difficult, telling you the difficult things, but also helping those who were your friends, who did just as bad things as you did. So this one day back when I was like 16 or 15, something like that, I was always in trouble doing something silly. Two of my best friends and we happened to come across the liquor stash in the house. And for some reason, we were drinking and she came home early from work and I knew I was in trouble, but one of my friends was, from just a couple sips of liquor, was inebriated and was starting to be belligerent. And I'm trying to calm him down and say, hey, my mom's coming inside, please act like you're not doing anything wrong. His response was, F that effing effer, or something like that, because he was drunk. And I turn around and sure enough, my mother is standing right there. And I was, she looked at me with this look that I knew I was dead. And I was bigger than her at this point too still, but I still had a fear that was very healthy. And the kind of mother she is and loving person she is, she told me the difficult thing and kicked me out. But that same friend that was belligerent and cursed at her or cursed her out, she told me that he could get to stay in my bed or stay on the couch while I had to leave because she wouldn't allow a child to leave her home in that state. That little story to me stands out because she was loving enough to take care of that child even though her child was being bad in the moment, and still never held that against me. Still was very loving, kind. I was very difficult on my mom as a child, and she always loved me. She was always good. She was always kind. There was times that she had to be tough, like everyone talks about. And I remember growing up with little Anna. The reason why Georgie said I wasn't around by the time he was 2. That accident that he talked about was one of the reasons why I actually started talking to my mom again. We had a falling out and I hadn't talked to her for a while. But she had that kind of insight always, where she knew what to do, even when you didn't. Mom, I love you. I miss you tremendously. I don't have the words to say, to express how much I love you and will miss you. And I love you. Don't cry too much when you're up here, because you're better up here.
It's been a really long time since I've seen any of you guys, and I'm very blessed that you invited me and reached out. My name is Lakin Tully. I don't know how many of you knew my father, but I have known Anna and Ken for a very long time, and I've only known great things about you guys. And I didn't know Anna very well. Anna and your mom. But I do know a few things. My dad was going through a very hard time at one point, and he lived with Anna for a while, and during that time, I stayed with him there, and so I got to know a few things about her. I don't really ever remember her getting mad at me for being in the kitchen, but I do remember she made this wonderful like pork bone soup. Is that what it is?
It's more like just a pork roast, but it has the nice juices that come out of it.
And it was phenomenal, and I remember I was like messing with the stove, and she said something, but
Get out.
I remember that it was definitely the best soup that I've ever had, and one thing that just really sticks out is the fact that she loved my dad. And I definitely think if he was here, he would come up and speak. She was a great woman from how I know her and knew her. And she was wonderful to my dad. And that's just really big to me, because he didn't really have anywhere to go. And she's just so grateful to be here. And I'm grateful that you guys have a mother as wonderful as you did, with all these stories of how kind she was. And with how little I know her, I know that was true, and that her heart was full of love. So, thank you.
I'm not a public speaker. And you probably all know that. So I'm going to read what some people sent. From my mom's sister, Maria. Our world is a little dimmer today, but the heavens have gained a new star. Anna, or as we called her, Annie, was a loving sister and a wonderful aunt. She was always quick with a joke, and her laughter and smile infected everyone around her. We could all use her quick wit and laughter today. But let us take comfort that her suffering has now ended, and that her laughter and smile lives on in all who remember her. We love you with all our hearts, Annie. We will miss you, your living presence every day, but we know that your soul walks with us in our memories of you. And that is from Ria, her sister, and family. And then from our uncle, our Uncle John, her brother John. We hope your next life is better for you and more peaceful. We will surely miss you. Say hello to Mommy and Daddy, your loving brother John and sister-in-law Alice. So I guess now it's my turn. My family is my world. My mom was a huge part of my world. Everything I am, I owe to her. She was such a strong woman. Everything good in me comes from her.
And I'm so grateful. So extremely grateful that I got to meet her daughter. Thank you, baby. You've heard all the stories of how kind she was and how loving she was. All of them are true. My mom didn't just give me love, but she gave me the people that I'm surrounded with as well. We have, I have my brothers, but I also have Gloria, I have Trisha, I have Tess, I have Allison, I have so many people that she brought in under her wing. And I hope that one day I can have as big of an impact on people's lives as she has had. There is a beauty in this tragedy. I got to have some really special moments with my mom at the end. Ones I'll never forget. And I'm grateful for those, even though they were hard. But I am grateful she's no longer in pain. And I'm grateful for all of you who have given support to all of us. That's
Can I?
You can?
I'm not a very good speaker, so please forgive me. But all I can say is Mama Anna, she was a good woman. And the best thing that ever came out of her was that woman right there, my daughter-in-law, and what she has given to us. Those 4 beautiful boys. And I know stories about her, what I've heard from you guys. And I know it's true. She was a loving woman. She always accepted me in her house. She came to my house a couple of times too, and I loved her. I might not have expressed it as much as I should have, but I did. And all I can say is she raised a good woman. And they say that, what is it, behind every man there's a great woman. There she is. And there's the great man, my son. I love them all. Teddy, George, your partners, your exes, you're all family. And I still consider you my family regardless. Anna, you will be greatly missed. You're a good woman. I love you.
Thank you for your loving memories of Anna. We'll now hear a special musical selection, God Be With You, Till We Meet Again, by Allison Cruz.
Smite death's threatening wave before you. God be with you till we meet again. Till we meet, till we meet, till we meet at Jesus' feet. Till we meet, till we meet. God be with you till we meet again.
We'd like to join Anna's family in thanking all those in attendance today, and to all those that came from near and far during her final days to spend time with her and remind her of just how loved she was. A special thanks to Mama's other children that have been a huge support to her and to her family through this process. Allison Cruz, Kenneth Loyo, Trisha Alcoser, Tess Reeves, Gloria Alcoser and family, Clever Navillo, Martha Caballero, Christopher Macias, and so many others. We'll now have a closing prayer by Maureen Cruz.
Our dear kind Heavenly Father, we're so grateful that we got to gather together and celebrate Mom's life. Please help us to keep in mind what she wanted us to do after she passed, is keep her in our hearts and remember. Please help us to spend our time following her example and being accepting and loving and kind to others, loving the people around us, enjoying each other, laughing about life even though life's hard. We're thankful for everything that you bless us with day in and day out. Please help us get home in safety. And I say these things in Jesus Christ, amen.